This is the global news on Atlantic Television Network. First, the headlines. Vigilante group arrests suspected streetlight cable vandals. Benue doctors embark on indefinite strike over abduction. President Tinubu to open 63rd NBA conference. Report says Nigeria economic growth. Report says Nigeria economic grows to 2.51% quarter two. Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali form military pact. Burna Boy releases 7th album, I Told Them. Super Falcons now 32nd in FIFA rankings. Thank you for staying with us on the Global News tonight. Here is our bulletin in full. 2 suspected streetlight cable vandals were arrested at the early morning Friday at Fruit Garden area of Daylight, Port Harcourt, River State by men of local vigilante group, Falga Security Watch, and handed over to Oluwabasanjo Police Division. In an interview with our reporter, the chairman of the security outfit, Victor Ohaji, explained that at about 2 a.m. he got a distress call from his men in the Fruit Garden area that hoodlums numbering over 10 were breaking shops and trying to vandalize the street light cables at Fruit Garden area. Ohaji said he immediately mobilized his men and drove to the scene, and the hoodlums, on sighting them, took to their heels, but they were able to apprehend 2 of the hoodlums, one named Emeka and another named Chibike. He said that the suspects have been handed over to Oluwabasanjo Police Division. Ohaji decried the activities of the vandals who have vandalized many electric cables in some of the axes in D-line in recent times, causing the street lights not to function at night. The vigilante chief reiterated his calls for the River State government to assist the security outfit in terms of mobility and other logistics to enable them function properly. Meanwhile, the public relations officer of River State Police Command, SP Grace Iringekoko, confirmed the report, saying that investigations are ongoing. But the government has disclosed that it is targeting to stop fuel importation in 2024, adding that Port Harcourt and Warri refineries are being repositioned to function optimally. But the government clarified that the Port Harcourt refinery would commence operations before the end of 2023, precisely in December, while Warri refinery, which is also undergoing rehabilitation, would start refining petroleum products by February. It maintained that the December 2023 target for the completion of the rehabilitation of the Port Harcourt refinery remained sacrosanct, expressing satisfaction with the level of work done in the facility. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Heineken Lokobiri, spoke during a working visit to the Port Harcourt refining company in Eleme River State to inspect the project. Lokobiri, who was accompanied on the visit by Minister of State Gas Resources, Ekperipe Ekpo, expressed happiness with the level of work done, adding that rehabilitation work, which was approved for $1.5 billion when completed by the end of 2023, will refine up to 60,000 barrels of crude per day. He said the essence of the inspection was to ensure the timely rehabilitation of Port Harcourt refinery and completion of other refineries in the country at the scheduled dates. Chairman House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee set up to tackle kidnapping and banditry in and around the Isukwato and Imunochi local government area of Abia State. Honorable Obi Agocha has pledged that his committee will tackle the root causes of insecurity in the southeast, particularly Abia State. The lawmaker gave the pledge while interfacing with the Commissioner of Police of Abia State, CP Kenechukwu Onumelie, and the Nigerian Air Force in Abuja. The chairman assured that the committee is prepared to work with the government to put an end to the unproductive sit-at-home order placed by the indigenous people of Biafra and the unlawful detention of Nnamdi Kanu.
The challenges we face are not mere statistics or headlines. They are real-life manifestations that affect the lives of our people, disrupt the functioning of our institutions and communities, thus impeding the growth of our region. Instances of criminal activities, banditry, kidnapping, assassinations, and communal and religious crises and threats to life have shaken the very foundation of our societies. As leaders and stakeholders, it is incumbent upon us to come together, transcending our differences, to find sustainable solutions that will quell these threats and pave the way for a brighter future.
A member of the committee from Abia State, Honorable Amobi Oga, called for a joint security patrol while urging the Commissioner of Police and other agencies to comb the forest to fish out criminal elements in the state.
Part of my prayer was for the President to set up a joint task force, which include the Army, the Police, the Air Force, the Civil Defense, to comb the bush areas, because we have a massive bush around that cattle market. But what I'm seeing over the time, because I travel over the weekend, this prayer, nothing has been done. They have not moved any inch inside the bush because the kidnapping keep increasing. Part of
the Abia State Commissioner of Police informed the committee that he only assumed office on the 4th of June 2023. As such, his submissions will be centered on the general appraisal of the security challenges and associated dynamics in Abia since he assumed office.
Extended an invitation to the leadership of the Nigeria Police Force. The invitation implied that the Commissioner of Police, Abia State Police Command, interfaces with the ad hoc committee as part of efforts aimed at addressing the security challenges. Accordingly, given that I currently serve as the Commissioner of Police, Abia State Police Command, having assumed office on 14th of June 2023, I was mandated to brief this committee. The aim of this brief, therefore, is to discuss the security situation in Umunochi and the Sukwato local government areas of Abia State with a view to profiling way forward. The discussion will be presented under the following headings: an appraisal of the security challenges and the associated dynamics.
The committee went into closed-door section for further sensitive matters. A faction of the All Progressive Congress in Abia State, loyal to former Minister Uche Oga, has thrown its weight behind the recent election of Donatus Wankpa as a National Welfare Secretary of the party. The party, in a statement in Umuahia signed by its Publicity Secretary Ofor Okorie, denied the reports in the media that the party rejected the election of Wankpa, who was the former state chairman of Abia APC, as the party's National Welfare Secretary. The APC, which reacted to the statement credited to Kingsley Ononobu-led APC faction, said such rejection of Donatus Wankpa came from people allegedly causing disunity in Abia APC. The Publicity Secretary, who described the election of Wankpa as the best thing to happen to APC in Abia, pointed out that those drumming negative campaigns against Donatus Wankpa did not want the Broom Party to grow in Abia. He credited the roles of Uche Oga, Senator Nkechi Nwogu, and some other APC stalwarts in Abia for the continued relevance of the party in Abia State. He advised the Kingsley Ononobu faction to jettison their opposition to Wankpa, as his choice has been accepted by the APC, Abia APC, noting that Wankpa's performance as the former chairman of the party in Abia earned him the national NWS job. Vice Chancellor of Abia State University, Uturu, Professor Nyemachi Obulu, has sternly warned students against indulgence in cultism, hard drugs, examination malpractice, indecent dressing, and other vices, or be expelled from the institution. Professor Obulu, who read the Riot Act of Friday during the 45th matriculation ceremony of the university at Uturu, also warned the students against peddling fake news and the marketing of the institution via social media, by declaring the management of the institution has zero tolerance For any act of exploitation or molestation of students, the VC urged students not to hesitate to report any case of harassment or intimidation to his office. The VC charged the new students to pursue their academic careers with good conduct, diligence, and determination to reciprocate their parents' sacrifices. He restated the commitment of the institution to the production of high-quality graduates, emphasizing that every course of study is relevant. Professor Bulu advised the parents against forcing their children to choose a course that they have no passion for. According to the VC, a total of 4,546 students are comprising 4,404 regular students, 100 institutes for continuing education, and 42 postgraduates were enrolled in the various programs of the institution. Enugu State government has expressed disappointment at the way certain petroleum dealers in the state are exploiting consumers through deliberate manipulation of meters, dispensing fuel inaccurately, warning that filling stations found culpable in such sharp practices will be severely sanctioned to serve as deterrent to others. While frowning at the dastardly act, the state government assured residents of its genuine concern to their plight in the hands of the exploiters, urging the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria to ensure that filling stations comply with accurate metering system. Commissioner for Special Duty Honorable Emeka Ajogu said this today when he paid unscheduled visit to some petrol filling stations in Enugu metropolis to ascertain the alleged meter manipulation by filling station owners, where it was confirmed that none of the filling stations had an accurate metering system, including the major distributing stations. Ajogu lamented the insensitivity of the dealers who undersupply the products purchased by consumers, saying the days of such manipulation would soon come to an end as severe measures were being taken by the appropriate authorities against erring dealers. Over 20 filling stations instead adjusted their meters and sold between 600 to 620 per litre, respectively. Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps arrested no fewer than 40 suspected illegal coal miners in Enugu State. Commandant Mohammed Dada, while addressing newsmen on Friday in Enugu State during the operation, items recovered included pumping machines, diggers, headpans, shovels, and 4 hand van G7 trucks without registration numbers. Others are Toyota Hilux van, 2 heavy-duty batteries, a substantial amount of coal, and a motorcycle. Dada said that the operation took place at the base of Ugwonyema Hill in Enugu. The commandant described the act as a serious economic sabotage, adding that the arrests underlined NSCDC's role as a lead agency entrusted with safeguarding critical national assets and infrastructure. Dada said the NSCDC would thoroughly investigate the matter and ensure that those responsible for these activities face the consequences of their actions. He also warned individuals engaging in illegal mining activities in the state to stop immediately. Vice-Chancellor Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Professor Charles Esimone, has removed the lecturer in the Faculty of Law, Mr. Afam Ezaku, over allegation of sex harassment. A special advisor to the Vice-Chancellor on Public Relations and Special Duties, Dr. Emmanuel Ojukwu, stated this in a press release issued to journalists on Friday. Ojukwu, however, stated that it was not true that students of the university protested against sexual harassment in the institution. Media reports had quoted protesters as saying the Vice-Chancellor of not acting on a report by a panel headed by Professor Obi Obujafo, which indicted Ezaku. He said the handicap of the university is that the students who alleged sexual harassment were not forthcoming to testify before the investigation panel. He said the VC warned that university management will severely punish erring staff, especially those who are molesting or sexually harassing students. Anambra State Police Commissioner Aderemi Adeoye has vowed to deal with cultists rampaging in the Awka, the capital city, and their sponsors. It was gathered that Awka is experiencing a rise in cult-related incidents with a distressing number of 10 fatalities attributed to such activities within just 1 week. In a statement issued by the State Police Public Relations Officer Ikenga Tochukwu and made available to reporters, the commissioner warned the politicians to stop pleading for the release of arrested cultists. He described the cultists as murderers, adding that they were not fit to live among decent human beings in the society. Adeoye stated that those sponsoring the cultists to kill human beings like them were cowards who should cover their faces in shame. He vowed that the police command would come down very hard on the heartless cultists who take pleasure in killing people. On the state government has overruled the Deji Akure, Oba Alade Toyinbo, Ogunlade Aladelusi regarding the closure of markets in the state capital for communities' annual traditional Aheregbe festival. According to the government, the closure of market violated the decision of the State Executive Council and infringed upon the freedom and rights of the citizens. The monarch had on Thursday, through his chief press secretary, Michael Adeye, defended the closure of markets, citing the necessity to observe the age-long tradition of the annual Aheregbe festival. In a statement issued by the Commissioner for Information, Bamidele Ademola Olateju, the government expressed its disagreement with the DG's directive. The statement emphasized the importance of respecting the decisions made by the State Executive Council, which the Commissioner said serves as the governing body responsible for making crucial decisions on behalf of the state. The Commissioner further stressed that the closure of the markets would impede the daily activities and livelihoods of the citizens, as well as disrupt the economic activities within Akure metropolis. A stalwart of the People's Democratic Party in Osun State, Dotun Baba Yemi, has insisted that he still remains a full-fledged member of the party. He described his expulsion from the Osun PDP several months ago as kangaroo action. He asserted that the party leadership in the state is being led by lawless individuals whose stock in trade is characterized by impunity. Recall that after Ademola Adeleke was declared winner of the Osun 2020 gubernatorial election, Baba Yemi was expelled by the PDP in his ward. The ward expulsion was followed by the state chapter of the party, but in a statement, Baba Yemi insisted that the actions taken by the party leadership against him was owing to the imperial-mindedness of the party and their approach to rules of engagement. On the State Independent Electoral Commission has disclosed that 10 political parties have expressed intent to participate in the forthcoming local government elections scheduled to take place in February 2024. In a press statement issued by Tunde Adeleye, the commissioner in charge of communication, publicity, and ICT on behalf of the commission, confirmed that a deadline had been set for political parties to submit their list of candidates for the polls. According to the statement, out of the political parties, 10 have duly complied with the directive and have submitted their candidate list to ODEC within this related time frame. Adeleye emphasized that ODEC has fulfilled its statutory obligation by promptly publishing the lists and personal information of the candidates running for the positions of councillors. He added that the publication of the candidates' details serve as a crucial step towards promoting openness and providing voters with the necessary information to make informed decisions during the elections. As part of measures put in place to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy on Nigerians, the Ogun State government has received 3,000 bags of rice from the federal government. As Secretary to the government of Ogun State, Tokumbo Talabi, confirmed the receipt of the bags of rice in fulfillment of the federal government's plan to distribute grains to states to mitigate the hardship currently being experienced by the masses. According to Talabi, the rebagging of the grains and the packaging of the commodities are already ongoing before they can be distributed to the masses in due course. Talabi had told newsmen that the distribution of the palliatives to Ogun residents would begin soon. He affirmed that the state government had received money from the federal government for the procurement of grains, part of the money planned for the procurement to be distributed to residents by each state. The SSG explained that Ogun State would procure more grains to complement the ones given by the federal government for a wide outreach among the residents. Meanwhile, Talabi disclosed that special considerations will be given to the elderly, physically challenged persons, and women in distribution of the commodities. Nigerian Medical Association in Benue State have embarked on a total and indefinite strike in solidarity with one of the members who was abducted in July in Sankera. This was made known in a statement signed by Dr. Ushakuma Anenga and Dr. Godwin Ame, Chairman and Secretary, respectively, of the NMA in Benue State at the end of an emergency general meeting on Friday in Makati. Record that Dr. Aseme Musega, serving in Sankera General Hospital in Ukum, LGA, was abducted in July and has been in captivity since then. The doctors noted that the difficult decision to embark on indefinite strike action effective 8 a.m. Friday, 25th August 2023 was taken after all efforts seeking the release of their colleague from captivity proved abortive. The NMA said in the communique that there will be a massive protest of doctors on Tuesday, 29th August 2023 at the Government House roundabout to terminate at the Government House. NMA also called on the Governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, stakeholders, and other well-meaning individuals in the state to wade into the matter to secure the release of the young medical doctor. Federal Safety Corps in Oyo State says 146 persons died in various road traffic crashes in the state between January and June. Joshua Adekanye, State Sector Commander of the Corps, disclosed this to the newsmen on Friday in Ibadan. He also said 618 persons sustained various degrees of injuries in 246 road crashes recorded within the period. Giving a breakdown of the figure, he said 15 persons lost their lives in January, 15 in February, 23 in March, 24 in April, 45 in May, and 24 in June. He explained that the investigation revealed some of the crashes were due to speeding, driving under influence of drugs, alcohol, and mechanical faults, among others. The sector commander cautioned drivers against reckless driving, noting that the commander had stepped up its enforcement and public enlightenment across motor parks, churches, and mosques. Adekanye further said the Corps was aware of the absence of road signs, adding that the situation had been traced to activities of scavengers. Death toll from the diphtheria disease outbreak in Bauchi has risen to 26, with 180 suspected cases recorded so far across the state. 5 students had reportedly died of suspected diphtheria in Jamare, local government area, in July. Executive Chairman of the Bauchi State Primary Health Care Development Agency, Dr. Ridwan Mohammed, disclosed this on Friday while giving an update on the state's diphtheria outbreak during the USAID IHP one-day media engagement on the 2023 Bauchi State Budget performance held in Bauchi. He said out of the number of deaths, 4 were confirmed diphtheria cases, while the remaining 22 exhibited signs, symptoms, and complications of diphtheria following the results of tests conducted. He said a total of 180 suspected cases were reported from Bauchi: 07 Dambam, 32 Darazo, 2 Itasa Gadau, 5 Gadau Jamare, 104 Katagam, 17 Misau, 9 Ganjua, 1 Giade 1 and Ningi 1 LGS of the 180 suspected cases reported 3.9% were lab confirmed and 166 were clinically compatible. He added that the total of 26 deaths were recorded among suspected confirmed cases. 10 LGS reported at least 1 case, totaling 180 suspected cases in Bauchi State. Jamare LGA accounted for 57.8% of the diphtheria cases. The chairman said further that the state has commenced a vaccination exercise in some local government areas to contain the outbreak. Governor Abu Kefas of Taraba State has called on Tertiary Education Trust Fund to establish e-library entrepreneurship training centers in higher education institutions in the state. Kefas made the call during a visit to the Executive Secretary of TED Fund, Architect Sonny Echono, in Abuja on Friday. He also solicited for the establishment of computer-based test centers in the state. While responding, Executive Secretary of TED Fund, Architect Echono, commended the governor for his various efforts to uplift education in the state, while promising to look into the request of Kefas Ochono. The TED Fund has continued to deliver various intervention projects in both federal and state tertiary institutions in Taraba. Taraba State Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps has resolved to reduce road crashes to the barest minimum in the state. Speaking to newsmen on Friday in Jalingo, the sector commander Abdul Malik Bello said his major priority in the state is to ensure that road casualties are reduced and, if possible, brought to an end. Bello said the command has succeeded in enforcing speed limit devices, which he said have been yielding positive results. He said a special team deployed to the command have taken it up themselves to visit the various motor parks on a daily basis to enlighten motorists on the need to drive with care to avoid road mishaps. Also admitting that the Nigerian roads are littered with potholes, he said the availability of speed limit signs on highways is enough to prevent drivers from overspeeding. The Yobe State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says its operatives have intercepted 33 blocks of cannabis sativa concealed in 2 sacks containing groundnuts. The command, through its principal staff officer, media and advocacy, Ramatsu SB, disclosed this in a brief statement issued to newsmen in Damaturu on Friday. According to the command, the 133 blocks of compressed cannabis sativa weighing 62.0 kg, which originated from Taraba State, were intercepted along Potiskum-Gombe Highway in Potiskum local government area of Yobe State. In the process, 3 suspects were apprehended in connection with illegal trafficking. Meanwhile, NDLA said it has taken its sensitization campaign on war against drugs or drug abuse to NYC orientation camp holding in Dazigal, Nangere local government area of Yobe State. Led by the area commander, Potiskum Area Command, ACN Aliyu Yaro, about 1,700 corps members were sensitized on the causes and effects of drug abuse. The campaign featured extensive discussion on the subject matter as well as question and answer sessions. Court of Appeal in Abuja has dismissed an interlocutory application by Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State, seeking to set aside the ruling of the Kano State Election Petitions Tribunal. The panel of justices, comprising Justices Abande Williams, Daudu, and Ridwan Abdullahi, on Thursday, held that Yusuf's application against the APC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and 2 others as frivolous and vexatious. Abba Kabir Yusuf had appealed against a subpoena granted to a witness, Dr. Aminu Idris Habai, to testify before the tribunal, insisting that the court had erred in its decision. Yusuf further alleged that the judges of the tribunal erred in law when they failed and neglected to consider as required by law his submission on the interpretation of the provision of the Electoral Act 2022 in arriving at the decision, thereby denying him the right to fair hearing. APC and its candidate Nasir Yusuf Gawuna had filed a petition challenging INEC's declaration of Yusuf of the New Nigeria People's Party as winner of the March 18 governorship election. Some bandits have demanded 4 million naira as ransom to secure the release of one of the National Youth Service Corps members abducted within the Zamfara State territory. The armed bandits reportedly abducted 8 members of the National Youth Service Corps along a highway within Zamfara State on Friday. The recent graduates were said to have been traveling with an Akwa Ibom transport company bus from Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, to Sokoto State to take part in the mandatory national service when their vehicle was intercepted. Emmanuel Ete, the father of one of the victims, Glory Thomas, confirmed the latest developments news to newsmen on Friday. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after the break. I hope this is the main brief. Welcome back to the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Here is the rest of our stories. Crisis has erupted in the new Nigeria People's Party as the National Working Committee has announced the suspension of founder of the party, Dr. Boniface Okechukwu Aniebonam, and National Publicity Secretary Dr. Agbo Major. The NWC said the suspension of Aniebonam and Major is with immediate effect, pending the determination of investigations by the disciplinary committee at the national level of the party. The publicity secretary described the members of the NWC that announced the suspension as jokers in a statement that was signed by the acting national chairman Abba Kawu Ali, the national auditor. Oladipo Johnson said the suspension followed unruly activities of the founding of the party, who feel the political platform is his personal estate. Johnson said Aniebonam has arrogated to himself the right to solely reverse decisions of the party's NEC, including the decisions that were ratified and adopted by NEC, a situation he said cannot be allowed to persist. When contacted, Major, who was allegedly suspended, simply said the acting committee members are joking. Mood at the National Military Cemetery in Abuja was mournful on Friday as the rank and file of the Nigerian Armed Forces were joined by family members and friends for the burial of 22 of the military personnel who died in combat in Niger State. No fewer than 36 officers were killed in battle, including an air mission on August 14, according to the Defense Headquarters. The rank and file of the Nigerian Armed Forces are present, as well as the families of the deceased. The ceremony was attended by the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, Deputy Governor of Niger State, Yakubu Garuba, Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Christopher Gwabin, Musa, and other service chiefs. Coalitions of northern groups under the aegis of Northern Consensus Movement have called for the federal government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to create the Ministry of Northern Nigeria Development. Speaking at the World Press Conference in Kaduna, President of the Amalgamated 592 groups, Dr. Awal Abdullahi Aliyu, said it have critically evaluated the social and economic challenges of the North, and it is appropriate and make bold to demand for the creation of the Ministry of Northern Nigeria. According to him, once the ministry is created, emphasis would be placed on specific project implementation in education, health, security, agriculture, economy, environment, women and youth development, and skill acquisition activities management. President Bola Tinubu is expected to open the 63rd Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association in Abuja this weekend. The decision to declare the event open followed an invitation extended to the president by the leadership of the Nigerian Bar Association, led by Yakubu Maikiu, playing host to the delegation at the presidential villa on Friday. Tinubu pledged that his administration would conclude a thorough review of the remuneration template of judicial officers in the country. According to the president, the battle against corruption necessitates a comprehensive review of the salaries and allowances of judicial officers, an issue that is well known to him given his landmark success in reforming justice administration in Lagos State. President Tinubu equally acknowledged the importance of addressing the current vacancies within the Supreme Court, affirming that these vacancies represent obligations that must be fulfilled based on recommendations but fought by the National Judicial Council. In a brief break, the NBA president lauded the president for appointing very distinguished members of the bar into his cabinet, including Lateef Fagbemi, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Jibril Barau, has described the new media as a crucial tool for the promotion of national unity and development, especially the entrenchment of internal democracy. Senator Barau stated this while hosting members of the Northern Nigeria All Progressive Congress Media Network at the Senate in Abuja. In a statement on Friday by his Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ismail Mudashio, the Deputy Senate President emphasized the need for social media influencers to channel their energy towards the promotion of unity and progress in the country. He appealed to members of the APC media network to continue to promote the activities and policies of the government at all levels. Director General of the National Office for Technology Acquisition and Innovation, Dr. Danazumi Mohammed Ibrahim, says non-replacement of retiring staff of the agency will have negative effects on its future operation. The DG was speaking when he appeared before the House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating job racketeering in federal agencies. Dr. Dan Azumi, who told the committee that several senior and experienced staff of the agency are leaving the service without being replaced, said between 2015 and 2019, the agency employed about 45 staff after getting approval from the Office of the Head of Service.
Between 2015 to date, we have employed only 45 staff. The challenges we have, and I think maybe this committee may be able to assist us. We have an established position of about close to 300 members of staff. And in 2020, we were able to get financial provision to employ. When we started the process, COVID came. Then the circular was issued that we had to hold on. And at the end of the year, the whole money left, and it took us almost 3 years to be able to get this fund to start the employment process. So we had to come back to square one. And up to now, I'm telling you, staff are going. Younger ones are not coming up. The older ones are going. So there is a serious issue of succession challenge in the office. So we feel maybe the committee may be able to assist us.
The Director General also informed the committee that the attention of the Commission was drawn to the imbalance in the recruitment exercise carried out by the agency by the Federal Character Commission, assuring it will be corrected in future recruitments. Now, business news. Nigeria Communications Commission says Nigeria has ranked as the 7th country in the global usage of mobile phones and 11th in terms of internet penetration. NCC Executive Vice Chairman Umar Dambata made this known in Abuja at the Emerging Technology Forum for Stakeholders in the Telecommunications Industry. According to Dambata, the worldwide data gathered by the Network Readiness Index team demonstrated that digital transformation was a global need in order to optimize the social and economic effects of the digital era. NRI is a guiding metric that measures the role and impact of information and communication technology. Nigeria's economy grew marginally in the second quarter of this year compared to the previous quarter, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Africa's biggest economy saw its gross domestic product by 2.51% year-on-year in real terms in the second quarters of 2023 from 2.31% in first quarter of 2023 and 3.34% in the same period last year. The report said the growth rate is lower than 3.34% recorded in the second quarter of 2022 and may be attributed to the challenging economic conditions being experienced. It also revealed that the performance of the GDP in the second quarter of 2023 was driven mainly by the services sector, which recorded a growth of 4.42% and contributed by 58.42% to the aggregate GDP. In the meantime, National Bureau of Statistics has launched the fourth quarter 2022 and first quarter 2023 Nigeria Labor Force Survey reports. According to the methodology and standard of definition of labor force survey indicators that was adopted, put the unemployment rate in Nigeria at 5.3% in fourth quarter of 2022 and 4.1% in first quarter of 2023. While speaking in Abuja during the launch of the survey, the Statistician General of the Federation and CEO, National Bureau of Statistics, Prince Adeyemi Adeniran, said the labor forces survey indicators adopted by many countries in Africa place their unemployment rate below 5% compared to Nigeria's 33.3%. ATN correspondent Rotimi Adewoye completes the report.
The National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) has enhanced its methodology of collecting labor market data through the Nigerian Labour Force Survey in line with the International Labour Organization (ILO's) guideline. The data collection for the revised Nigerian Labour Force Survey is based on a sample of 35,520 households nationwide. According to the survey, most Nigerians operate their own businesses or engage in farming activities. This also shows that most people are engaged in some type of job for at least 1 hour in a week for pay or profit. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, said the change in the rate does not in any way state that the Tinubu-led administration has performed magic relating to employment in Nigeria.
If the frame of reference from which we are comparing Nigeria is different from others, then maybe we will be blind to the data. So this is certainly not an attempt to impress that we have done something in the last 3 months different, but it's nevertheless purported that maybe we have been too harsh upon ourselves historically, and then also do something. Even those in employment need support to make better life, to make better income. And so the fact that more are employed does not suggest that they don't need more. And we are very, very cognizant with that. But this is a very positive story that we have been measuring on employment different from others. So maybe the competitiveness or the comparative indices that we have been relying upon are not on the same platform.
In his address, Statistician General of the Federation and CEO, National Bureau of Statistics, Prince Adeyemi Adeniran, said the change in the data is attributed to the new methodology adopted, urging governments at all levels not to rest on their oars. The World Bank, as one of the partners of the survey, said its country director, Shubham Choudhury, that the process adopted is in line with international best practices, encouraging NBS to embark on more surveys that can bring to bear the realities in the country.
In addition to overseeing the production and management of officer statistics, we are obligated to use appropriate standards and methodologies guided by the principle of officer statistics and international best practices. The poverty index result that put Nigeria at 133 million Nigerian multidimensional poor. People were asking me everywhere I go that you get right, you are poor. How can you believe that kind of government campaign is going on? But that is what the figure is saying. Unfortunately for us, the chief to the president was the one that even launched the data of that particular job. So it is not about talking about government, and that is how government should be. What use is for us at NBS to be giving data that is not realistic, that does show what is on the ground to government because we want to favor them. We are not helping the government if we are doing that. The best is to give them the actual reality of the ground and let them plan and address it. That is when we know that we are working for government.
This result is the result of this survey is being released 3 months is alive in the new administration, but this is a work that has been ongoing, and it makes quarters, the last quarter of 2022 and the first quarter of 2023. So evidently there's no bearing on what the government has done, but it's a methodology enrichment which brings this survey in similar ways that is being conducted.
ATN News, Abuja.
All right, welcome to the international tidbits of the global news. Junta in Niger, which seized power in a military coup on July 26, has formed the military alliance with the neighboring countries of Burkina Faso and Mali. The rulers of Burkina Faso and Mali also seized power in coups. The three countries, the foreign ministers made a joint announcement in Niamey, Niger's capital. The accord allows Mali and Burkina Faso to provide military assistance to Niger in the event of military intervention against the Portuguese there. A similar agreement already exists between Burkina Faso and Mali. Following the July coup in Niger, the Economic Community of West African States activated a standby force and threatened violence if the democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum was not reinstated and constitutional order restored. The agreement, which was announced, also calls for the three countries to take joint action against terrorist groups active in their countries and secure their borders. Russian paramilitary fighters will have to swear an oath to the Russian flag 2 days after the presumed death of mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin. The measure is aimed at forming the spiritual and moral foundations for the defense of Russia, the Russian Federation, and applies to members of the volunteer formations, a term usually described in mercenary groups. It also applies to groups contributing to the execution of tasks given to the armed forces and territorial defense units. The document was signed by President Vladimir Putin 2 months after Prigozhin led his fighters on a deadly rebellion against Moscow's top brass. And here is entertainment news for tonight. Building upon the success of his debut album, Beloved, a sophomore project, Table for Two, Bello embarks on a new journey of musical exploration and expression. His third body of work, Beauty and Bliss, showcases his maturity as an artist and his unwavering commitment to pushing his artistry. The EP makes its entrance with previously released Maria, an enticing fusion of catchy tunes and captivating choruses that has garnered widespread attention on the radio waves. However, beyond the immediate catchiness, Beauty and Bliss offers a more profound musical experience, from the soulful and romantic ballad complete to the collaborative dynamics of Jajali with Mr. Easy, and the enthralling synergy with Yemi Alade in For Me. Corridor Bello's artistry reveals itself through compelling narratives and rich sonic textures. Beauty and Bliss does not merely rest on past laurels. It signifies Corridor Bello's advancement as a musician, clearly demonstrated by his skill in crafting exciting stories and exploring diverse musical components. Burna Boy has released his highly anticipated 7th album titled I Told Them. Burna Boy is one of the central figures in Afrobeat whose music is leading the exportation of Nigerian music to a global audience. The album packs 15 tracks, including the previously released Sitting on Top of the World, featuring 21 Savage, Big Seven, Taliban's second, featuring Brian Messiah, and Cheat on Me, featuring Dave. The album comes after the back of his 2022 Grammy-nominated efforts, Love Damini, which delivered the hit record Last Last, For Your Hand, featuring Ed Sheeran, and Eat Plenty. In an interview, Burna Boy said that I told them it's an album which he is enjoying himself and doing the things he always wanted to do. On the album, Burna Boy collaborated with Wu-Tang Clan rappers Giza and Reza, Afrobeat sensation Sheyi Vibes, and American rapper J. Cole. Here is the sports news for tonight. Nigeria Super Falcons have moved 8 places to become 32nd in the world and first in Africa in the latest FIFA Women's Ranking released on Friday. The team previously ranked 40th in the rankings released in June before the World Cup. The Super Falcons had the second highest point increase of 94.4 to move from 1,554.94 to 1,649.08, only second behind Morocco, who had a point increase of 10.422. To move from 1,334.08 to 1,438.3 and are ranked 58th in the world. Nigeria had a good campaign at the 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, finishing second in the group without losing a game before eventually bowing out to the Lionesses of England after a 4-2 loss on penalties in the round of 16. Sweden, which earned a third place finish at the World Cup, is now ranked number 1 in the world. Similarly, World Cup winners Spain are now ranked second in the world, with the USA, England, and France completing the top 5 in the latest rankings. Aitana Bonamati and Olga Carmona have been nominated by the UEFA Women's Player of the Year award alongside Australia women's and Chelsea forward Sam Kerr. The duo were part of the Spanish team that won the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. Barcelona Femeni midfielder Aitana Bonamati was named the best player of the 2023 Women's World Cup. The 25-year-old was part of the Barcelona side that won the UEFA Women's Champions League and the Primera Division in the 2022-2023 season, scoring 19 goals in 37 appearances. Olga Carmona scored the winning goal and was voted MVP in Spain's 1-0 win over England in the final. The Real Madrid women's forward has scored 10 goals in 82 appearances since she joined the side in 2020. Chelsea's women's forward Sam Kerr missed most of the Australia's games at the World Cup as they finished in 4th place. The 29-year-old scored 29 goals in 38 games for the Blues as they clinched the WSL title and FA Cup last season. Inter Miami head coach Tata Martino has admitted that Lionel Messi may not start against New York Red Bulls in Saturday's MLS restart, with the legendary Argentine at his physical limit. After the high-octane excitement of their successful Leagues Cup campaign and the thrill of their comeback victory in the U.S. Open Cup semi-final, Inter Miami and Messi get down to the main job at hand on Saturday. The Major League Soccer regular season returns in full, with Miami, who travel to the New York Red Bulls, faced with the tough task of climbing from the bottom place in the Eastern Conference and into the playoffs positions. Proud to the break for Leagues Cup and Messi's arrival along with Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba, Miami were winless in 11 games in MLS, with the worst record in the entire league. And that is global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Vigilante group arrests suspected street lights cable vandals. Benue doctors embark on indefinite strike over abduction. President Tinubu to open 63rd NBA conference. Report says Nigeria economic grows to 2.51% Q2. Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali form military pacts. Burna Boy releases 7th album, I Told Them. Super Falcons now 32nd in FIFA rankings. I'm Vivian Douglas. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on our social media platform on X, with Atlantic TV Net, on Facebook and YouTube, with Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok, with Atlantic TV Network 1. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Good night.